Hello and welcome back to Farming Simulator 25 with me, Daddy Jokey. This is just part 2 of I think it's episode 42. Honestly, I should have probably looked that up before I enshrined it in stone by saying it during the recording. But I didn't, so there you have it. It is possibly episode 42, possibly episode 41. Either way, it's a part 2 of whatever episode this actually is. And in this episode, in this part 2 of this episode, we're going to continue with our first sizable harvest. I mean, this is, I think, the first time that we have what amounts to a proper harvest. In the part 1 of this episode, we have harvested the oat field next to, or like directly adjacent to our farm, and we have gotten about 27,000 liters of oat out of it, plus straw. We haven't picked that up yet, obviously. That's going to be a whole another episode, I reckon. And in this episode, we're going to continue harvesting oat, and then we're going to move on to the barley field. Some would say that it was probably a little bit more efficient to go and harvest the barley since it was right next to our farm as well. However, this is my feeling on it. I think, and I might be completely off base here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think combine harvesters have settings for different crops. And so if our combine harvester was set for oat, there is no sense in switching it to barley and then switching it to oat again. It would be much more sensible to just keep it on oat, go harvest all the oats, then switch it to barley and harvest all the barley. But we will see. In the previous episode, I have also used the Follow Me mod for the first time in the series. I have had it installed for quite a while, but I haven't used it. This was the first time that I actually used it in this series, and first time I have used it in Farming Simulator 25, and so it was a little bit of a there was a little bit of a learning curve to it, partly because sometimes I forget which hand is right and which hand is left, and so I read right control, right shift, plus H, but what I pressed was left control, left shift, and H, and so that's kind of where the initial "why is this not working" was coming from. But now that I've sorted out and tattooed on my hands which one is left and right, now that shouldn't be a problem. So once we finish this headland, we might employ that worker again in following us around this field. Only reason I'm saying we might is because it actually cost us a fairly significant amount of diesel, and so it is entirely possible it is cheaper to stop the harvester, come up with the tractor, dump it into the tractor, then keep the tractor in place. That way we limit the amount of gas we use. Now, our farm doesn't have really the problem of having a narrow window of harvest in which we need to get done all that we need to get done. And so we don't really necessarily have that need to spend the diesel. It is entirely possible if we owned the entire map and if we played on 3 days per month, that we would absolutely be running, the tractor in parallel with the combine just to get it done faster. Ultimately, however, it isn't really faster because we still need to dump the stuff ourselves, at least until I decide to use Courseplay or something a little bit more advanced than just Follow Me. But that's kind of neither here nor there at the moment. We are just gonna go ahead and crack on with the harvest and see how much we can make out of these oats. As it stands right now, I reckon this is, even though this field seems a little bit larger, I think because of that little slope edge over there, it's gonna end up being the exact same or just about the same as our big rectangular field over there. And so it's not gonna be anything groundbreaking, I don't think. We are definitely going to be turning it into flour or cereal. I'm actually going to check and see what we have, because I do want to use the productions. Reason being that if, okay, this is what I'm thinking. If I were to watch a YouTube channel for Farming Simulator, and I do watch some, I do watch, you know, there are a couple, Farmer Scythe and Dagwin are the two main ones that I frequent. But this is what I would say. If I was going to watch YouTube channel for Farming Simulator, I would want to see all there is to do in the game, if that makes sense, right? Like, there's only so long that you can enjoy watching someone go around the field, even in time lapse and with nice upbeat music. You know, how many minutes are you willing to spend watching this happen, right? And so that's the reason why I'm thinking productions, yes. Even if it may seem a little bit like weird, and even if maybe some of you could call it cheating because we're using the mod that allows us to rent the production facilities rather than spend, you know, $500,000 to buy a grain mill, which, by the way, is nowhere near what a grain mill would actually sell for. But, you know, so that's why I'm doing that. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I want to see all of these productions, even if potentially sometimes it's not as beneficial as it may sound. Like, for instance, with the flour, if we were to turn the flour into bread, it is not entirely worth it with the leasing costs of the production facility. It may actually be worth it now, because I have also installed a mod that allows me to speed up those productions, because as we know from previous episodes, I have complained about the incredibly slow speed of the production facilities. It is ridiculously slow, unrealistically so, and so for a simulator game it is entirely broken. As we've seen with our carrots, even at 5 times the speed of the production, one field of carrots took almost half a year to process into the preserved carrots, right? And so, I mean, can you imagine if that was how it worked in real life? All the carrots would have been spoiled before they even got a chance to be preserved. But we don't have to worry about that because we have that all done, and so all we really have to worry about right now is getting all of our crops off the field and under cover before any kind of ridiculous weather elements happen to engage us. Now, all of our fields got a little bit of hail damage in the run-up to the harvesting season. It looked pretty good there for a minute, and then end of May and June there were a couple hailstorms that did a little bit of damage, but nothing too severe in our crops. And so we have only lost a very small amount. If we quickly peeky at the map, as you can see, there is a little bit over there, a little bit over here and there, and then these two chunks in the barley field. So nothing too severe, and we haven't really lost that much because of that. Although, when you look at it from above, it seems fairly like a large amount of damage. But, you know, we're making it work. We're doing what we're doing. And I actually welcome this this element of randomness that allows for a bit of damage to your crops. I'm uncertain, this is where I'm kind of like, I don't know yet, is whether or not I want something like drought to happen that can entirely kill your crops. I don't know that I want to do that. I think it would make the game very difficult to enjoy if your entire crop could just die. However, it would make it more realistic. This is, I think, what I'm gonna say about that. The only scenario in which I think I would enjoy it is if there was a way to mitigate it. Right? So if, for instance, we could buy irrigation devices, whether or not, you know, surface sprinklers or like, what is it called? Like center pivot irrigations or inline irrigation or flood irrigation, whichever, so long as we have some way to mitigate that. Obviously, it would cost us more money though, so it would be one of those things that you kind of have to, you know, consider again. Is it worth saving the small field by flooding it with water? Probably, in the long run, yes. Especially if you have access to free water, like a river or, something. Where is my tractor? It's over there, and I mustn't forget that the tractor is running low on diesel. Even though I think it's actually got enough so that we don't have to worry about it immediately. I think we could probably get away with filling it up and then getting diesel on the next run around. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll see. If it starts blinking before we even get there, we'll have to drive back, but it's fine. It'll be okay. And again, I'm still experiencing FPS loss and stutter, and I don't know what is causing it. I don't know if it is the new patch and the shaders being all wonky, or if my computer is having issues running, recording, as well as the game, as well as who knows what else is happening in the background these days. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I don't really know how to investigate it effectively enough, other than, downloading a temperature monitor to see if what's happening is temperature issues or what have you. But right now it's running at 52. It should be running at 60, and I don't know why it's doing that. It is definitely annoying me, because it reduces the quality of the recording. If I'm trying to export this at 60 FPS, but I only record it at 52, 50 FPS, it is going to be a problem. And so I don't know. Something. Now it's at 60. Yeah, like I said, I have no idea. But so here we have a pretty, this field is gonna get cleared off pretty quickly, I think. I thought it was gonna be, quite the job getting this done, but we've done one headland, well, 1.25, I guess. Or maybe 1.5. Either way, we've done about 1.5 headland, and we've filled up the harvester, but as we know, this is getting smaller and smaller every pass, so especially that top part is very narrow, so I think by the time we're, see that scooched down all the way to 30. I don't know. Especially that top part over there is gonna be pretty much done as soon as we're done doing headlands, and then we're just gonna be making a triangle. Kind of same with this end over here. I could actually even just line up with that edge over there eventually and kind of cut through the field in order to, I don't know, make it a little bit more exciting. But anyway, I'm gonna quit yapping, and we're gonna kick in a time lapse for this part 2 of episode 42, maybe. We'll see. for this particular time lapse. Next, we're just gonna deliver this to our silo, come in to pick up the rest of the oats, and then we'll be all set. We can start out on the barley field, and then that'll be the harvest. The thing that I want to know before we dump it into the silo is how much oats, I guess, or how many. I don't know. Is it countable or uncountable when it's a bulk good? I think uncountable. So how much oats we actually have in there so that we can compare the yield from those two fields, accounting for the fact that the other field was not 100% covered in both layers of fertilization. So before we dumpify it, I'm just gonna pause right here and check our stocks. And we have 26,810 liters. Let me write that down somewhere. 26,000. If only I had a handy piece of paper around here. 26,810. 26810. Bam. Alright. It is noted. And we will revisit that number once we dump all of the oats into here. And I think it should be fairly obvious already that it should be more from the field we are working on at the moment than from our local one over there, because we have a trailer load and already a full tank on our harvester, whereas at this field we didn't actually fill the harvester all the way back up, and we still have a tiny little chunk left over. So I'm actually going to go ahead and go this way so we don't have to make any kind of U's or nothing, even though it means I have to pop out of the tractor and open the gate. And there we go. Doesn't look like there's any traffic, so we're gonna ignore that stop sign. Now to find, there it is. It's conveniently marked by the muddy texture on the road itself. But yes, so we have this all done. That is one long time lapse. Well, it's actually not long because I've cut it down, but it has been extensive. Let's turn that off. Hop into this vehicle, turn it back on, and overload real quick. And we still have a little bit. This isn't going to be any great significant amount. I would estimate it's less than 10% of the harvester's capacity, so a couple hundred liters. But you know what, little by little we'll get to where we need to go. So we'll just quickly wait for it to overload. Nothing that can be done to hustle this up other than getting a more modern harvester. And even then, I'm not so sure that it's a process that can be sped up, because the more modern the harvester, the larger the grain tank, and so even though it may overload faster, it's overloading more and it ends up being the same amount of time. But yes, and here's what I'm kind of thinking. Looking at this, I haven't actually looked at the planting calendar yet, so I can't really be for sure on this, but I think we missed our window for carrots. And even if we haven't, I'm not really feeling inclined to plant all of our property with carrots. We would never see the end of that. It would literally kill me. The amount of work that would have to go into that would just be nasty. It would cease being fun on any level. And so, with that said, I think we are in prime spot for planting canola. And so what we might do is we might do the risky thing and put all of our eggs in one basket and just plant all canola. Like I said though, we will have to check that planting calendar. But I feel like, especially since we haven't done canola this year, some kind of, I don't know if meaningful crop rotation to get these cereals off the field and put in canola might really be beneficial. But then I don't actually know, scientifically speaking, I don't know if canola followed or yeah, if canola planted after oats and barley makes any meaningful change in terms of the nutrients that are being put and taken out of the soil, which is the whole purpose of crop rotations. And to be entirely honest, since we're using artificial fertilizers anyway, I don't know that it matters at all, actually. But anyway, we can turn off the header, and we'll poke out the auger, and we'll just kind of come up right up against the tractor over here and dump it in, and then I'm gonna go and set up the worker to deal with the barley field. Whoop, yeah, okay. Good to know we can't just bring in the auger from there. I'm gonna go set up the worker on the barley field while we go and have a look at what we actually have in terms of all of the oats. As you can see, this is an all-day endeavor, both in-game and out of the game. I have been working to harvest these fields for a couple hours now, actually, in real time. And in-game time, as you can see, we started pretty much 7:30 in the morning, which, admittedly, it would have probably been still wet, so that was not super realistic. But it is now 4 in the afternoon, and, you know, we don't have that vast of an amount of land, so this is actually kind of I don't know, wild. Let's see. Oh, no field detected, of course not. So let's try it again. The issue that I'm running into here is that I'm actually on the wrong end of the field. This is not where we have entrance to our field. And especially since I want the harvester to go clockwise around the field, I'm not sure if it'll happen. I might actually be forced to starting over there. So, you know what? Let's do that real quick. Let's actually pop the beacons on as well. I don't know that it matters so much since, you know what, there we go. And the hazard signs, or signals rather. So that everybody is aware that there's a harvester going down the road. Not that the drivers in Farming Simulator ever really care about what you're doing. They're perfectly happy filing an insurance claim after smashing at full speed into your farming machinery. In Farming Simulator 25 it gets even better because you get hit by school buses all the time. That's a new one. Here we go. You can turn that off. Since we are at the edge of the field. Here we go. Bloody post van. You're gonna have to wait, Buster Brown. Here we go. No field detected. Good grief. Come on. How about now? No field detected. How about now? Some field detected. Groovy. We have 3 headlands. Start on headland. Yes. Bam. Go. Is he gonna do it, or is he gonna... Let's briefly witness this miracle of local... What is it? 4F high school or whatever? Yeah, there we go. They manage. Alright. And we are gonna go over to our tractor. Leave them to it. You know, if they manage the first headland before we even sort out this oat situation, that'll be good. If not, whatever. We have time. And I'm perfectly willing to pay them for it. Prior, we used Follow Me. In the previous part of this episode, we used Follow Me. And we paid them about $50 for it. So, you know, I feel like that's fairly reasonable. Particularly given the amount of money we are currently sitting on. And the fact that we have a ton of produce sitting at the farm, ready to be taken to a farmer's market. I would love nothing more than to get a variable transmission tractor. I don't know what people feel about them in real life, but I can tell you that I do not care for that slow, indecision looking start that this tractor has. Half the time I don't know if my tractor is on or not. because it is not taking off, despite the fact I've been holding forward for 2-3 seconds sometimes. So, but here we go. This is the last of the oat. And so we're going to bring that in here, and then we're going to compare and contrast the numbers. While this is dumping, I'm going to activate my cellular device and bust out the calculator so that we can do some complicated mathematics. So now we are sitting at 58,014 liters of oat. So 58,014 minus 26,810. 26,810. So this field has yielded 31,204. So clearly, this field is the winner. It is marginally larger at the moment, and it's only going to get bigger once we procure field number 6 from Noah. We're going to plow it together with 7 and 9, and this is going to be our workhorse, because it's essentially going to be the same size as 8, 5, 4, and 3, just about. And I am ready to go take on some barley from our local high schooler. However, I don't even want to see what they're doing over there. Let's actually quickly... Oi, come on. What I'm trying to do is climb up onto the tractor wheel. Get a good looky. So I want to grab like a panorama picture of what's going on as it passes in front of the farm. So we're gonna kind of hang out here while I yap in this sort of static view. Here we go. It's coming ever so closer. Yeah, we also, you can see, I don't know if you can see it easily. If I kneel down like this, you can see that the smoke coming out of the tractor is a little bit darker than it should be, or than it is in base game, and that is a mod. Something along the lines of darker exhaust fumes or something like that. You can find it on the official mod hub in game and on Giant's website as well as elsewhere. And it is exactly what it says. It just darkens smoke on older machinery. Newer stuff that uses def blue and the like, it should stay the same or even lighter than in game. But yeah, so here we go. We're going to shoot, I wish there was some sheep in there. Well, I guess we're only gonna have the babies. Let's wait for it to kind of enter the center screen. About there, and it is. We're taking the picture from far away. This is a miles away photo. I'll tell you this. Oh, that's because this was not working right. Okay, well, it's too late for that. Whatever. I guess by getting out of the tractor, I messed up the FOV. Oh my lord, what are you doing to my stuff? Get the harvester out of the crop, you muppet. It is a good thing that the worker doesn't have crop destruction. Oh, no way he's gonna go that way. Is he stupid? Or is it stupid, I guess? And he's got a... Oh my giddy aunt. Have you ever seen the like? I don't even know what to do about that at the moment. I'm just perplexed. This is exactly the kind of stuff, though, that, like, causes people to moan about the state of the game, you know? Like, why? What do you want me to do about the fact you have a full grain tank when you're stupid and you drove it with the auger facing the crop? As you can see, driving a combine is in fact skilled labor, at least as far as Farming Simulator 25 is concerned. Here we go, it looks like he's full. Yep, AI worker B has a full tank. Does B stand for bloody idiot? It must. because otherwise I don't know what's up. But you know what? Might as well. Might as well dismiss them. Take care of this ourselves, since this is the kind of help that we get. Let's actually put the pipe in so that we don't knock it on anything like a passing school bus. Ooh, and also it's running out of diesel, so this might be a quick detour to the farm to fill her back up. Alright, here we go. Dump in some barley. Right. I mean, we might as well let the worker finish, but we will have to get them some diesel anyway, so I just, you know, you had one job. You had one job, and that was to drive around the field in clockwise circles. It did not require any kind of extra thinking on your part. Maybe maybe you learned that at ag college rather than high school. I don't know. Honestly, I'm talking smack about rural education. I don't actually know anything that happens in these 4F high schools, or whatever it's called. 4H, not F. Well, let's pretend in the universe of Farming Simulator that we are in, that we must have grabbed the truant rather than the valedictorian or whatever. There we go. Let's just put them back to work, and then we'll go busy ourselves with other things, just so we don't have to watch the tragedy unfold. Okie doke. So can we just unleash you back onto the field without you screwing it up any further? Yes, okay, you're capable of picking up where you left off. Marvelous. I will turn the tractor off as well, so that we are not, we're not wasting gas or diesel. And we're gonna go have a peeky at everything else that's going on the farm. I think we have some strawberries probably that have been harvested, and here we go again with the stutters, all the way down to like 26, oh my giddy aunt, even below FPS. And again, I have no clue why. I don't know what's causing it. I don't think it's overheating, because right now my computer is not running all that hot. The fans are running fairly idle. And so yeah, so I think it's something else. I bet you it's the update, because it has not been happening prior to 1.6 update. So we will see. I might have to do some I guess research, even though it's a bit of an extra word for what I need to do. But yeah, it is stuttering at like the simplest tasks, so it's not even like we're entering, see that? It's not like we're entering an area we haven't been in. I honestly don't know what is causing it. And mind you, you might be seeing me or hearing me say this across several episodes. For me, it has been less than a day between all of that recording, and so keep that in mind as well, that I haven't actually had the temerity to deal with it just yet. Don't really love those floating thingies over there. Let's pop the car right here, and we have a good amount of stuff. This is pretty good. Let's look at the water totals. Yep, we are all set. We will have to probably put some water in here so that it produces overnight, but otherwise we're good to go. Look at these lovely wooden baskets of strawberries, just like I remember when I was a kid. So yeah, we'll just yank that up, pretend we're loading it one at a time by hand. pop that on over here. I actually don't really know. This is a thing that I don't know. What is the correct use of a pallet? Because I tried to Google it, and on the internet, I don't really see pallets that don't have like this wooden plank running all around. And so I don't know, are you supposed to come in through here? Or are you supposed to come in through here? Or does that not matter and it's for different implements? Like maybe this is where the forklift goes, but this is where a pallet fork goes, like one of those little pallet movers you might see at a warehouse. I don't know. So if somebody knows what the appropriate use of a pallet is, let me know. I'm also wondering why none of this is producing. What is happening? Why is it going so slow? In the time that this has produced nothing, this has produced a whole thing. Which, grant you, that makes sense because this isn't splitting production, so maybe that's what the problem is. However, one would argue that this has produced an entire set and is happily on the way to producing another, so I'm really not all that sure what's happening. But in either case, let's put the garlic on here. Wage payment $14. More than you deserve for that nonsense, I'll be honest. We'll just stack them on top. This is a plastic box, so it'll keep. Again, I know I've said it before, but I will say it again. I would love to see a mod that changes these to individual boxes. Would that be a lot more unpleasant to load? Perhaps if you're farming in large scale. Perhaps the mod could make it so that you can choose the output. Do you want it to be individual boxes, or do you... Oh shit. Not good. Or do you want it to be... not that. Do you want it to be just pallet? And it looks like our worker is hailing us on the radio saying, yoo-hoo, almost full. So we are gonna go ahead and get back and get in the tractor and take care of business over there so he doesn't have to wait too long. Just gonna back out, and again, we don't really have to worry about traffic. Nothing goes through here because nobody wants to go down a ferry when they don't have to. Yeah, put her in gear. Let's go. There's a thing that I need to figure out still, and that is how to adjust the speeds with this new mod that adds extra cruise control controls or cruise control speeds. Again, with the stutter, 22 FPS. I don't know what to do about this. It is getting ridiculous the longer it goes on. He is driving facing the field again. Wow, down to 20. I don't even know what is happening. I tell you one thing that is going to happen, and that is going to be me taking this worker out behind the farm, or behind the barn, putting them out of their misery, or out of my misery. Either way, out of someone's misery. And it was at this moment that I realized that despite my best efforts in splitting Harvest episode into two, I have ended with 2 episodes of, 35 minutes and 1 hour and 15 minutes. And so I have decided to turn it into part 3 of 3, so that nobody had to sit through an 1 hour and 15 minute long video. So I thank you so much for watching, and please come back for part 3 if you've so far enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.